Hello everyone, and today I am doing this video in English. I'm used to do the videos in Arabic, and a friend told me that she wants me to do a video in English to target the kids, especially in the West, in America and Europe, who don't speak Arabic or are not very fluent in Arabic and who may be more comfortable listening to videos in English. So my Arabic speakers, please forgive me or try to follow. I'm gonna try to translate the video in English, in Arabic soon, hopefully next week. I have been a psychiatrist in the US for 25 years, actually 26 years now. And before that, I practiced psychiatry in Egypt and in Saudi Arabia as well. So, and I underwent my own transformation, my psychological transformation and growth, and search for meanings of life, and reassessed my thoughts and continue to reassess my thoughts. So this video is about, it's a mix of my own educational background, my clinical experience dealing with my patients, as well as my own personal life. Yesterday, I made a video in Arabic about how the human mind and the human beings are like an onion, and the onion has a thick layer on the outside and then multiple layers that goes to the deep core of the onion, and the outside layer of the onion protects the inside and also prevents that smell from coming out. And that's who we are. We are an outside shell that Donald Winnicott called it the false self, that we communicate with each other. So what you see in front of you now is not my true self. It's my false self, or my beautified self that I'm trying to portray to the world around me. There's nothing wrong with that. We're all try that, but we all have our true self. If we have a lot of conflicts inside us, if we have a lot of trauma from the past that we were not able to resolve, the difference, the distance between our true self and our false self is very big. If you come in terms with your own self, you're not gonna need to beautify and protect yourself too much to appear in front of yourself and the outside world. Our connection is not just with the outside world, it is connection with our own self. How do we see ourselves? The painful aspects of our personality. Throughout the years, I have seen people very ambitious, trying hard. Some of them become very successful. Some of them become very frustrated because they did not achieve the perfection that they were looking for, especially the young generations, which is, I have 3 kids in their late teens and 20s, and I went through their growth and development and challenges and problems and education, and they are bicultural. They all of them were born here in the US, but they still have the Arabic culture, the Egyptian culture. And when you're bicultural, you see the world differently, and you develop your own hybrid identity. And this video probably targets those people with hybrid identity. That's an identity mixed with their background, their original culture, their mother culture, and also the culture they grow up in, which is, I fully understand that it is a struggle. And it is a struggle because we as parents, we're not perfect. We tried hard to do our best to varying extents. Some of us were more successful than others in raising our kids. Some of us had our own conflicts. Some of us had our own background and the cultural problems we came with, and we tried to impose it on the kids. And then the clash happens. not just in the generational gap that usually happen between different generations, but also you add to the generational gap a cultural gap. And this is true even for people who came from like American background, American parents and American grandparents. I see this problem, which is the generational gap. The culture that we live in at this point is totally different than the culture my father and my mother and your father and your mother came from. The technology changed the world, the ambition now, the definition of success, the communication between everybody on earth is communicating easily with each other. We all wake up in the morning, we know exactly what the celebrities are doing in their homes. You have this virtual reality TV, so you see everything. Nobody can suppress any information in the world nowadays. And some people are still living in the Middle Ages. Some people are still living in their minds. Their mind, their mentality is what was going on in the world 1,000 or 1,200 or 2,000 years ago, and they still have the same mentality. They don't realize that the world has changed a lot, and a lot of the concepts that we were indoctrinated with when we were young is no longer valid. And we have to acknowledge that. We have to take the good values from the past and also clean the impurities, and try to come up with values that fit this day that we are living in. And the values of this day are different than the values of 1,000 years ago. The core values of humanity does not change, but the details change a lot. Even the morals change, by the way. And if you don't believe in that, just see how morals were accepted, what morals were accepted 1,000 years ago, and what morals are accepted or not accepted now. After studying the human mind and knowing exactly that what appears on the surface is not the reality, what appears on the surface is not our own reality. It's very important for us to understand that when we deal with ourselves and also when we deal with others. When we deal with ourselves, so what we say, what we behave is not our true selves. Sometimes it's exactly the opposite. And the example I always say is that when you are in a state of anger and rage on the surface because something happened to you, the actual core feeling that you have is the opposite. When you're angry, deep inside you, you're threatened. When you're in a rage, deep inside you, you feel you feel violated, you feel infiltrated by somebody, you feel humiliated. And if you get angry a lot, I understand that if you get angry every now and then, that's a normal human experience. But if you get angry a lot, if you're angry all the time, I want to ask you what's going on inside you. So you need to connect the dots and ask yourself why I am angry a lot. Why am I angry all the time? Am I angry all the time because the world is very bad? Which is the easy explanation that many people would say. But the reality is that bad world that you always accuse is actually inside you. Life is all about perceptions. You need to get rid of the badness inside you. Forget about the world. Forget how terrible the world is. But there is a part of you that is not accepting who you are and get threatened easily and feel insecure about. On many occasions, when you feel threatened and you feel humiliated, you feel not understood, you feel that there is distance between you and the world around you. And if that's the case, I want to ask you, why do you have that feeling inside you? More than likely, it's going to be something that happened in the past. So when you feel angry, when you feel that you are in a rage because of somebody upset you, you want to ask yourself, why are you angry? And more than likely, yeah, I know that situation is what hit you, but a more intelligent person, a more emotionally intelligent person would think, oh, it's that incident is not what made me angry. If that incident symbolizes something that happened for me in the past. So you fully understand that is that person who angered you symbolize what your father was doing to you in the past, or what your mother was doing to you in the past, and try to connect the dots. So instead of trying to fix that person to treat you well, fix yourself to resolve the conflict that happened to you many years ago. So that person, that I'm not arguing that person are good or bad. I want you to reach a point where you don't care about that person, that that person is no longer a threat to you, or that situation is no longer a threat to you. And that's when you look at yourself and understand yourself and accept who you are. And then I went through that transformation myself when I came to America in 1994, where I felt threatened by everybody around you. And I had that feeling, why people don't like me? Is that because of my name or my look or my culture or my background or my accent in English or what? That's what it is. I realized after many years that people don't love me and people don't hate me. Everybody looks for his own personal interests. Some people may love me, some people may hate me. I know that. Some people may have bias against me, some people may be racist. I know that. But it became a non-issue because I realized that that's the world around me. That my own sense of self or who I am should not be dependent on whether people like me or hate me. Your own self-worth comes from within. Comes from within. And when you accept that and accept yourself, you will start the process of transformation and personal growth. And you will realize that accepting who you are, accepting your mess. Many times I tell my patients, I want you to love your mess. I want you to love it first. Yeah. And it's not bad to have all of us to have some mess inside of us. If you're neurotic, if you're anxious, if you have some sense of insecurity, that will make you human. That will make you maybe care more about people. That make you that make you able to relate to people because you see things that you have your own experience with it. That you're not an alien from the world. You're not coming from a different place. You're coming from the same place that other people coming from. I always tell my residents and the students I train that if you're too normal, you're not going to be a good psychiatrist. If you're too narcissistic, you're not going to be a good psychiatrist. If you're neurotic a little bit, you're going to be a good psychiatrist. That means you have a touch of neuroticism. You have a touch of anxiety. You have a touch of insecurity. You know what these things mean. But if your problems are too deep, you're not going to be a good psychiatrist because you're not in touch with your own insecurities. So to get in touch with your own insecurities and accept it and love it. And then after that, when I say accept it, I don't mean you just stick with it for the rest of your life, but accept your humanity. And at that moment, when you reach that point in your life that you accept who you are with your own mess, you're going to start working on a process one day at a time to improve and get better and have better communication with yourself and internal communication, something intrapersonal between you and yourself before you can improve your communication with other people. So the people who have huge problem with relationships, huge problem with communicating with others, I just want to see that the internal wiring, the internal dialogue that you have in yourself, you may need to reset it first before you can resolve the conflicts with other people. Having conflicts, having traumas in our past vary from person to person, but we all have a touch of that to varying degrees. So very important that we don't compare ourselves with others. The first video I made on my YouTube channel was life is unfair and unpredictable. I always tell people that life is unfair, life is unpredictable, and you have to accept this fact and move on. If you start to question why is life unfair, but there's no answer for that. There's no answer for that. Religious leaders may give you answers for afterlife and things like that, but on this earth, whatever the life expectancy, the 60, 70, 80 years that we live, there's no reason, there's no explanation to the idea that life is unfair. And if you're idealistic, I want you to look around and look at the evidence to see how unfair life is. Yeah, the people who have this kind of high religious indoctrination don't accept this idea. But you look around, if you either you believe what was built inside you as a child, or you believe the facts around you that has evidence, without deception, of course. So life is unfair, life is unpredictable, and we have to move on. How do we move on? We have to forgive our past, forgive ourselves, forgive our parents, and move on with our lives. When you do that, you start to develop a sense of gratitude. A sense of gratitude, you're gonna lower your expectations and develop a sense of gratitude. Ambition is good. When ambition, you have the sky is the limit, which is fine. Be ambitious. And but I just want you, while in the process, in that ladder, when you're going up the ladder towards your goals, don't forget that for every step, you stay there, you stand there for a minute and take a deep breath and enjoy the moment. Enjoy that process. That being grateful is the key to happiness in life. Long-term study in Harvard that was done many years ago, for like 30, 40 years now. They're looking at that, what is the quality of life in old age. It's not the money. There are certain limits of money. If you're above that, you're satisfied in life. If you're below the poverty line, of course, you will struggle. But if you're generally satisfied financially, you have certain limit. It varies from country to country depending on the economic level and standards of the country. But above that limit, if you have what you need, the two factors that determine your happiness in old age are a sense of gratitude and the strength of relationship with few people around you. Forget about the money, forget about the car, forget about the job, forget about the social status. And I treated very successful people who were extremely miserable in their lives. And I told my daughter one day, I don't want to see you successful. Before I see you successful, I first want you to see you happy. I want to see you happy. I don't want to see you successful. I don't want, because a lot of people who are extremely successful are actually miserable in their lives. And life is too short. Life is very limited. And life is not gonna come back. That's it. On this earth, we have a lifespan, we have a life expectancy, and it's gone after that. And every day that passes, if you don't have a sense of acceptance and a sense of gratitude for what you have first, and if all what you're looking for is what I'm gonna do tomorrow, and what are the targets that you're gonna do tomorrow, and how to do this and how to do that, and this kind of ambition, which takes people away from enjoying their moment. Live that moment you're living in now. Enjoy that moment that we're talking to each other now. I personally live my life like that. I woke up this morning, prepared myself for this video, organized my thoughts, what I'm gonna talk about it, and I'm enjoying this to the fullest. And I always tell people I'm doing this video out of my own selfish nature. I'm doing it for myself and I'm enjoying it. Now, if this video becomes successful or this video fails completely, I am at least have the basic sense of satisfaction that I did my best to have a video for people. Maybe they will benefit from. I know this video will make people angry sometimes, may make people upset, may make people just oppose me, may make people think of me of something positive or negative. It doesn't matter. What I am happy with is that I was able to make this video, convey my thoughts, and maybe I will influence one person to get better. And remember, there is a difference between getting better and feeling better. This is very important. Getting better might mean that you have to tolerate feeling bad for a short period of time or longer period of time. If you want to feel better all the time, you are in the process of becoming an addict to something, because you can't tolerate the pain. You can't tolerate any suffering. You want to feel better all the time. Suppress or abort this idea that you have to feel good all the time. Sometimes we have to accept feeling bad as a process, part of the process of life. Feeling good is different than becoming better, being good. Being good means your ability to communicate and relate to yourself and to others is improving, that you're accepting yourself and others, you're improving your life, you're improving your performance in life is getting better. Not by the dollar amount, not by the achievements you have. No, that you're growing. You remember I spoke before in Arabic and English about the difference between the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. What I'm talking, the generation of the youth nowadays can easily Google these things and know the difference between fixed mindsets and growth mindsets. What I'm looking for, what I'm encouraging you to adopt is the growth mindset. Is that the ambition is not a point, is not a target. That's what they tell you in the companies that you work for. You have to have a target. But in life, there's no targets. No, there are multiple targets. And your target that will make you happy in life is that today I'm going to be a little bit better than tomorrow, than yesterday, and tomorrow I'm going to be better than today. And I'm going to live the day and enjoy it. And I'm going to accept who I am and accept my day and accept my insecurities again and try to work on it and improve it. Being grateful will stop you from the frustration that happen from difficulty reaching your target, because the people who are very ambitious, the people who are the people who are perfectionists, they often fail, and they fail because life is not perfect, and you're not perfect. Perfectionism is a defense mechanism against a deep sense of fear of failure. A deep sense you're afraid to fail, so you want to be a perfectionist. And perfectionists are slow to grow. So get rid of perfectionism. You have to get rid of perfectionism. And you have to adopt an attitude that you are human. There are things you can do and things you cannot do. And you adopt the phenomenon or the attitude of growth mindset. Not how to make things perfect, no. The people who are perfectionists, when they got rid of their perfectionism, they actually did better. Perfectionism is a pathological defense mechanism to a great extent. I'm not saying perfectionism is a disease, but it tends to be on the pathological side. If the more perfectionist you are, okay, it becomes like a defense mechanism. You're defending against your own fear of failure. And some perfectionists, they actually don't do much because they are stuck, they are paralyzed by their perfectionism. So they prefer not to do things because they are afraid they're going to do it wrong. So I'm not going to do it because it's not going to go right. No, just do it if it gets wrong. I am doing this video. I don't care if it's going to be, if I'm afraid that this video, because it's in English and all my audience are Arabic speakers, and I know the audience here will be less than my Arabic videos. But if I thought like that and how to make this video perfect, I would have never made this video. But I decided to do it. I got the idea and I will do it. Whether or not it will be successful, that's not the issue. The issue is I did it to the best of my abilities. I enjoyed doing it. That's what it is. If it doesn't work, I'm going to do another one. If it doesn't work, I'm going to do another one till I find something, because I am satisfied by what I am doing here and now and at this moment. I don't care about the result of this video or the result of what I'm doing. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best at the moment, knowing my own, what the term they use in English is the best humanly possible outcome. That's what it is. We're humans. We're humans. So you have to know your humanity, who you are, and work on that, and know your deficiencies, know your defects. And your defects are universal. They are universal for everybody. So understanding ourselves is the challenge. We always try to understand other people. We always try why people are treating us this way, why people are like that. We make fun of other people. We make jokes about other people. We analyze other people easily. We complain about other people. And we do that because we need them too much. Because we don't want to deal with ourselves, so it's better to put that energy on other people. So instead of dealing with the evil inside you, you deal with the evil outside you. It's easier to deal with the evil in other people than to deal with the evil inside us. You're going to tell me, but other people have more evil than I have, and maybe other people have more evil than you have. However, that's not the issue. That's how you see it. You're biased. Yeah, I made videos about the cognitive bias. And one of the funniest types of bias, they call it bias. That you are biased, that you're not biased. Yeah, you might be the most biased person in the world. And when you look at yourself deep inside you, you're going to tell yourself, no, everybody's biased except me. Like people think that, everybody came there, they brought their ideas from somebody else. Like, for example, talk about religious ideas. The people will tell you, no, I did not inherit my religious ideas. My religious ideas came from my own brain. I searched and I found the right thoughts. It's my own. This is what's called bias, that you're not aware of your own bias. You convinced yourself that all the world is have this herd mentality, and I'm the one who searched and found my own thoughts. So you are deceived like everybody else, but then you believe that you're the least deceived person. No, you are deceived like everybody else. You are insecure like everybody else. You just don't see it. Why you don't see it? Because you don't focus on yourself, because you focus on other people. So if we can take that energy from focusing on other people, focusing on the world, you don't care about the world, and you focus it on yourself, you will start the process of true and genuine personal change and growth. That's the process of change that will take a long time. And I'm personally still struggling with it. And I'll tell you what can make it easy to start this process is stop deceiving yourself and always bring your own unconscious thoughts to the consciousness. How to do that? You know it. You know how to do it. Always bring it to the consciousness. So when you had traumatic experience as a child, okay, and you're suppressing it, I want you to, instead of suppressing it and hiding it, I want you to neutralize it as a normal fact of life. That's the first step. The process of recovery from trauma might require therapy with an expert if you were exposed to severe trauma. Yeah, but suppressing the trauma is not healthy. What I want you to replace that with a process of accepting life as an unfair entity and accepting life that is unpredictable entity and understanding ourselves, having a philosophy of life of accepting these facts. And you stop looking for divine interventions to fix your problem. You really need to stop that. You need to stop looking for miraculous intervention to drop from the sky and give you justice, because it's not going to happen. I guarantee you it's not going to happen. And if they instilled these thoughts in your head when you were a child, it was wrong. There's nothing will come from the sky suddenly and unexpectedly. This kind of fairy tales, the Cinderella stories, are very rare. And when it happens randomly. Accept life as it is. Accept it as it is and be grateful. Being grateful means you accept what you have. You accept that, number one, you're alive, you're breathing, you didn't get COVID, you're not on a ventilator, you're not homeless. And even if you're homeless, there is a shelter there that you're going to go to at night. You have some food. And if you don't have food, you're going to find some food tonight. It's living like that. You live one day at a time. Yeah, gratitude, being grateful, means you live one day at a time, accept what you have and be happy for it, not excited. Yeah, the excitement, there's a difference between happiness and joy or pleasure. And I think I made a video about that, the difference between happiness and joy and pleasure. Yeah, people look for pleasure, joy, excitement. That's what happiness means. No, that's a different level. This is the peak. This is the peak. This is the baseline. The baseline of happiness means that's what I'm talking about. You're grateful. You're accepting for yourself. You're satisfied by what you have. That's the baseline of happiness. Excitement, when you are on the beach in the Maldives, or when you are with the person you love and your friends and you're doing something. Excitement and joy and pleasure. When you're doing something has a peak of pleasure. People use drugs, they always look for that. When you have sex, you look for that. Yeah, these are the peaks, the peak. But you have a base level. The people who seek this pleasure all the time, they do this because their level of happiness is low. So I want you to raise your level of happiness with satisfaction in life. That's what you need too. So your seeking of pleasure, your pleasure seeking desires are less. Not because you're an unhappy person. No, that's because you are a happy person. Happy people seek pleasure less than unhappy people because they have a sense of gratitude. It's the people who seek pleasure all the time. The pleasure-seeking behavior might coincide with your baseline level of happiness. We all like to seek pleasure every now and then, but the people who are addicted to pleasure, and when they don't seek the pleasure, that's the process of addiction. You're addicted to a behavior that make you excited. Why is that? Because of the misery inside you. When you're not doing this behavior, you're miserable. So when you're not around your friends, you're miserable. When you fail in love, you're miserable. When you don't find what you used to do, you're miserable. But you need to understand that the goal here is not to reach the peak. The goal is to raise the baseline. Your baseline satisfaction in life will be, if it's higher, you'll seek for this kind of jumping, exciting events will be less and less and less. So you're here and you're looking for here. But the people who always want to be here, I will tell you that their baseline is down because they are here and then they are not happy, they are miserable, they keep going up, then you go down again, up, go down again. And their ability to satisfy themselves, it doesn't reach this point anymore. So they just are seeking these pleasurable activities so they don't feel miserable. And we see this a lot in addictive behaviors. We see this with drug addicts. We see this with sex addicts. We see this with gamblers, pathological gamblers, people who gamble because they are looking for the next excitement. Even if they lose a lot of money, they're still looking for the next excitement because the baseline is miserable down here. We want to raise the baseline. The baseline is gratitude. The baseline is acceptance. The baseline is who you are and acknowledge your humanity. The baseline is to love your mess. The baseline is to forgive your past, forgive your parents. The baseline is to have a self-worth that is valuable. You know how you do that? You start to do things that make you proud of yourself. You start to do things that make you proud of yourself, regardless of the outcome. It can be a simple thing. Yeah, you do things that make you proud, that know that you have a value. Not to wait for people to do things to you. I enjoy cooking. I want to enjoy cooking. After I cook, and sometimes I take these pictures of what I cooked and put it on Facebook. I'm not bragging about it or anything. I am proud of myself that I did something and I told myself I am capable of feeding others. I do that at work. When I fix a problem, when I help a patient, I'm proud of myself that I am doing something that makes me feel valuable. That self-worth is very important in determining who you are. And you have to know yourself, and you have to work on yourself to improve your self-worth. Yeah, that's a process that will take time. And when you do that, that process will not happen smoothly. It's a very difficult process. And the process of growth does not go in a straight line. It's not like that. It's not an upward curve. No, the process of growth looks exactly like the stock market curve. If any of you can look at the stock market curve does not go in a straight line. It goes like this, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. So if I look at it from within a short distance or a short period of time, it is going down. But if you just sit back a little bit and look at the curve is actually going up. So the process of growth, personal growth, will include feeling bad, failures, and then you go up again. You stand up and you do it again. And what will help you do that is the ability to self-soothe. That's internal self-soothing. That internal self-soothing will help you deal with the falls, deal with the drops, deal with when you're broken, deal when you're frustrated, deal with yourself when you're betrayed, when there is a loss, the ability to self-soothe. And the self-soothe, when it's internal, it's healthier than when it's external. And there's something which is in between. We call it transitional objects sometimes, something that calms us down. Transitional objects symbolize the mother that soothes us when we were children. It can be anything. It can be something you're comfortable with. It can be a song. It can be a religious prayer. It can be a piece of music. It can be something you do. It can be a blanket and a pillow that you hold, or it can be somebody who give you a hug. That's all what it is. It can be whoever, your wife or husband, give you a hug because you need that. Yeah, these are the things that you need to do to feel satisfied, like your mom used to do when you're upset as a child. We're going back to our childhood. If you have a problem in your adulthood, I would like to go back and see what happened to you as a child and what you need to do to resolve these conflicts growing up. So the human mind is too complicated. It's multiple layers. None of us have full access to our inner core, but we try hard to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper till we reach the core of the onion, and see what's going on there. Sometimes all the outside layers of the onion are okay, and deep inside the onion, that's where the problem is. That's where the mess is. It's spoiled inside, and you can see this. And the layers are protecting the outside world, protecting the onion from the outside world. That's what we do. That's exactly what we do. So the core aspects of happiness in life are sense of gratitude and acceptance, living the moment here and now, one day at a time, accepting yourself, resolving your conflicts while you're going up. And if you do that, when this become your core philosophy of life, while you're going up, if you fall, you're gonna deal with it better. One of the philosophies of life that I really like is called Stoicism, and I encourage people who like to search and just Google Stoicism, and especially the Roman emperor Marcus Aurelius. Google for that. He wrote a book called Meditation. Read that and read the philosophy itself, and it's similar to what I'm talking about. And there are so many philosophies and even religious ideas that you can take from to build this inner strength and to become stoic. Stoic coming from Stoicism. So how to be strong, how to be grateful, how to accept yourself, how to be a problem solver, how to focus on yourself, forget about other people. If you find yourself crying and angry and complaining, you're taking the energy away from where it should be to where it should not be. So always focus on yourself, fix yourself, focus on yourself. And I'm not asking you at all to beat yourself up. I'm not asking you at all to always take things on yourself. No, I want you to have a sense of personal responsibility and know that I'm not going to fix the world. I'm going to fix myself first. And if you fix yourself first, the world will change. So be the change that you want to happen. I think that's what Gandhi said. I hope this video is helpful, and I hope the English speakers from my followers that you like it, and gonna continue to make videos both in English and Arabic, and I wish you guys a happy day and happy life, and with sense of gratitude, continue to be ambitious, but with a sense of gratitude in your life. Thank you, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.